And welcome to Studio 5. We've got lots to get to today. Actor Dennis Quaid is here with a preview of his new film, A Dog's Journey. We've also got the amazing grassroots story behind the production of The Chosen. And we're taking you inside a groundbreaking docuseries called The Redemption Project. But let's begin, as we do each week, with the countdown of the best headlines in the world of uplifting entertainment. Here are the first two. At number 5, turning the tables.
I thank Jesus for you every day. I love you. Happy Mother's Day.
When Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson shared this Mother's Day message a few years ago.
We surprised you?
You got me. I got surprised. I didn't know you were coming.
This Mother's Day?
Take a look at this moment. He hands his mom the keys to her new dream home.
Are you serious? Are you serious? No!
And these sweet headlines soon followed, after the newly minted highest-paid quarterback in the NFL shared the news on Instagram, writing, "All these years you have never asked me for anything. This one's for you. I love you, Mama."
I hope it's for real.
At number 4, it's a criminal case that captivated New York City headlines for months in the late 1980s.
Before a white female jogger was beaten and raped in New York Central Park in 1989, they were just 5 teenagers from Harlem: Yusuf Salaam, Antron McCrae, Kevin Richardson, Corey Wise, and Raymond Santana.
Their story is now a streaming series.
There is injustice happening here.
There is not one shred of evidence.
Imagine the frenzy of these teenagers ripping off her
They
clothes.
are innocent of these
They
crimes.
are guilty.
How you doing us like this?
It's a 4-part series available beginning May 31st.
The men known as the Central Park Five and director Ava DuVernay
I've never seen that 5 of you.
reconnecting in New York at the end of an emotional journey. Together, turning a real story of stolen youth and wrongful conviction into a dramatic Netflix series called When They See Us.
They saw you rape the lady. I didn't see a lady or hit anyone.
And the countdown continues in just a little bit. Get this, a dog finds the meaning for his life in the lives of the humans he meets, and so begins the film A Dog's Journey, starring Dennis Quaid, Betty Gilpin, Josh Gad, and so many more. We caught up with a few of them to bring you this Studio 5 first look.
Just having fun.
You know what? Don't worry, honey. Mommy's here. Come on, it's okay.
No, I get what you want me to do. Yeah!
This is why I don't like dogs.
And so begins A Dog's Journey, the latest installment in a series of books and big-screen dog tales from writers W. Bruce Cameron and Kathryn Michon. I'm first just really fascinated about how this whole series began. So you're driving up as friends, you've lost your dog. What happens?
I said I would never have a dog again because it was, I can't go through that again. Lots of people say that, and I said that to him, and he had an unusual reaction.
We've been on the road for an hour. We have like 6 more hours in front of us, and I'm thinking, well, I could either turn around and drop her off, or maybe just kick her out at the next rest area. I don't know what I'm going to do. So I decided the only thing I could think of to try to convince her that she did need another dog in her life was to tell her a story about a dog who is reincarnated, keeps remembering lives, and eventually learns skills that can help him find his boy and help his boy. And the message underlying that is that real love never dies. It's always out there looking for you if you just know where to look for it. And she liked...
And that was a dog's purpose. And
that was a dog's purpose.
I liked the story so much, I married him.
That girl. There's something about that girl. I smell something familiar. It smells like... CJ! I remember my purpose! CJ is my purpose! I can't let her get away!
From Bailey to Max to Big Dog and Molly, we meet 4 dogs in this story that explores love, loss, life, and death. All those wonderful big themes that would be, you would think, difficult to tackle. this film seems to handle it seamlessly.
Oh, that's
Well,
nice.
dogs break down barriers.
Yeah,
you know,
for
they do.
sure,
They look at you without judgment, and they're there for you at every moment in life, and they kind of lighten up things.
Yeah,
and
just the
they're family
purity of animals and dogs in particular. It just touches you in a deep, deep way.
Do you live here?
Yeah, I just moved in. Who's this little guy?
Oh, that's Max. Be careful, he's not very friendly.
Oh, Trent, I'm so glad to see you.
Here, little Max reunites two of the film's stars. What is it about dogs that's so appealing that could take us on this wonderful journey we go on in this film? What is it?
I think dogs just have a really good sense of everything around them, and especially the ones they love, their owners. And I think we can just learn so much from dogs. I think, yeah, that's one really big thing about dogs.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do either of you have personal dog stories that sort of inspired your work?
I've always wanted a dog. I never had a dog, but and so it's really nice to be, you know, part of this film because I could at least pretend like I have a dog. Pretend like I have a dog. She has a dog.
I do have a dog, an English bulldog called Marg. I was supposed to just foster her. I had seen a bulldog in the park and said, I love bulldogs, but I think that breeding them is cruel because they're purebred and they can't deal with life. Anyway, and my friend was like, you should get a rescue bulldog. And I was like, they don't exist. No one has a rescue bulldog. And she found me a rescue bulldog and was like, you should just foster it for a while. So I fostered her, and then now I've had her for 2 years.
I think she's yours.
my dog now. Follow her, just go this way.
Gail Mancuso, who's worked on television's Roseanne, 30 Rock, and Modern Family, directs this film. So you've got an incredible resume. Why did you choose this film to make your feature film directorial debut?
Yeah, that's a good question. I picked this movie. I think this movie picked me. You know, like the dogs. You know, the dogs pick you. Because I never would have gone out to seek out a movie like this, but it came to me. And, you know, obviously I've done a lot of comedy and stuff. I thought natural progression would be like, hey, let's do a comedy. But instead this came to me, and I'm so glad it did, because I think we were a perfect fit.
I know.
There's nothing in that cup.
Oh, did you make me a cup?
Nana.
Thank you.
Well, it's perfect for me, right?
Delicious.
Dr. Ressus?
Wait, there was something in that cup?
A Dog's Journey is in American theaters Friday, that is May 17th. And keep watching this show for a fun surprise from some of the real stars of this movie. Up next.
Throw this down for a catch.
I don't have a quarrel with you, teacher. We've been doing this all night.
The grassroots story behind this incredible series on the life of Jesus.
What do you want from me?
Follow me.
CBN presents The I Wills of God, your path to overcoming fear and anxiety.
We're going to talk about some of the incredible promises God has made to His children.
In Pat Robertson's newest teaching, you'll discover the I wills of God. I will rescue him, protect him, answer him, be with him in trouble, deliver him, honor him, satisfy him with long life, show him my salvation, and see amazing stories of God's promises in action.
What I felt was loved and treasured.
God spared my life twice in 3 days.
The good Lord had given me a second chance.
Break free from stress and despair.
The Lord doesn't want you to live in fear, but to know the rewards given to those who love God.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or visit CBN.com. The I Wills of God, your path to overcoming fear and anxiety.
And welcome back to Studio 5. The countdown of the best uplifting entertainment headlines continues now. At number 3.
There's a lot of things going on in the world. Here's some advice. Call Jesus.
The sisters, who've garnered a sizable social media following with their uplifting posts, have scored a television series. Danny and Dana Lane will play daughters to SNL star Kenan Thompson.
Come on, raise your voices. Blessings from his hands, blessings to our mouths.
in his new NBC family comedy.
If your boyfriend breaks up with you, call Jesus. Don't call Tyrone, call Jesus.
You can catch Danny and Dana on The Keenan Show on NBC this fall.
What are you doing? Who invited you?
At number 2, you might call them the accidental Christian supergroup. Studio 5 sits down with the Newsboys United as the group drops new music and embarks on a new tour with the return of 2 former band members. So, Newsboys United, how long are we united? Peter?
Well,
18 months and counting, Pete?
Yeah, it's been 18 months so far, and we're just about to announce a fall tour. So, yeah, who knows? We've obviously just finished making this record, which was a pleasant surprise. You know, we didn't come into this thinking we're going to make a record. We actually booked a certain amount of shows because if it didn't work, we could all bail.
And that leaves us only one more headline in this week's countdown. The Chosen is a television drama based on the life of Jesus. And some would say The Chosen is also a movement. We're chatting with executive producer Matthew Faraci in just a moment. But first, here's a look at The Chosen.
Excuse me. I have something for you. For me.
Throw this down for a catch.
I don't have a quarrel with you, teacher. We've been doing this all night. Nothing. All right.
You are healed. What do you want from me?
And the executive producer of The Chosen, Matthew Faraci, joins us now. So, Matthew, let's begin with the credits. They are pretty extensive.
Yeah, thank you, Ephraim. A lot of people were surprised about the credits, and it was a delight for us. The Chosen is a series that has been entirely crowdfunded. It's actually the #1 crowdfunded media project in history. We raised somewhere in the area of $11 million from 16,000 investors who caught our vision and wanted to support this project. And when you see the credits, it's a roll of name after name after name after name of people without whom this would not be possible. And it's kind of stunning to see.
So what actually inspired this project?
So for many years, people have wanted to see this kind of content. I mean, if you think about the marketplace, there's a supply and there's a demand, right? Hollywood just hasn't really met the supply side of that. There's not enough content for this audience, this values-based audience that's really looking for this kind of content. And so that's the first piece. The second piece is that I don't need to tell you, Ephraim, right now, most of the action and entertainment, it's on the small screen. We live in the era of Netflix and Amazon and binge watching. So furthermore, there's no show, there's no series with this kind of content on the small screen. And so we believed very passionately that if we cast a vision and we invited people to come along on this journey with us, that they would love to see something like this made so much that they would back us. And it was entirely made outside of the Hollywood system. So it's not a series, it's a grassroots movement led by 16,000 people who got behind this.
Now, this is a joint venture between VidAngel as well as the filmmaker Dallas Jenkins. What sparked this union?
Yeah, so Dallas, about a year ago, made this, a little bit more than a year ago, made an amazing video for his church, actually, which was an 18-minute video that told the Christmas story from the perspective of one of the shepherds. And a long story short, we put the video on social media, and Dallas did a pitch at the end. And Dallas is famous for these. Frankly, I think he's one of the best I've ever seen. And he just told people his vision. I want to make a show like this. Will you back me? Will you join this movement? And that video was seen by 20 million people. And then the team at VidAngel also saw this video. And The Chosen, the production company, and VidAngel partnered up and said, we're going to make this happen, and that's where we are.
Everyone watching, of course, wants to know exactly where they can find The Chosen.
So right now, The Chosen is available to own only at thechosen.tv. The website is thechosen.tv. Where is it? Thechosen.tv, and that's the only place you can see it at the moment.
Matthew, you are an executive producer on this project. I'm familiar with you from public relations. Why did you sign on to executive produce this?
For me personally, Ephraim, and thank you for asking that. For me personally, I love this kind of content. I love biblical content, but often I've found it to be sometimes stiff, and it didn't feel human to me. It didn't feel watchable to me. And so for me, when I watch these episodes, I get this sense of, oh, this is how it felt. This is how it tasted. This is how it smelled. You feel like you're there. The characters are real and human and accessible. And so it's biblically sound, but it's also great entertainment. And I've always wanted to see something like that. So it's an incredibly exciting opportunity to be part of your own solution, if I could put it that way.
And again, it is called The Chosen. Matthew, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ephraim, for having me.
And it is now time to say it in pictures. And of course, that means it is time for this week's Studio 5 Snapshot. We head to the south of France for this year's Cannes Film Festival. It began this week, pulling in some famous faces like Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Selena Gomez. Most of the stars have movies in competition during these 11 days of parties and red carpets. Some 21 films are competing for the coveted grand prize. That prize has been awarded to classics like Taxi Driver and The Piano in previous years. These images from France's biggest film festival are this week's Studio 5 Snapshot. Still ahead.
We like to imagine that after there's been a verdict, that the story is over. The reality is, whether they're the offender or the victim, the journey is just beginning.
Redemption journeys like you've never seen before.
Remember for a moment what it was like to be a child. You believed every story you were told. You saw a world full of endless possibilities. What stories will the world's orphaned and at-risk children believe? We believe the Bible tells the only story truly worth believing. We believe that every child should have the opportunity to dream, the chance to take challenges and turn them into possibilities, the chance to stand on the promises of God, to recognize their place in the greatest story ever told. They have their whole lives ahead of them. Theirs is a world of endless possibilities. They are looking for a story to believe. We will tell them that story. Will you join us?
And welcome back to Studio 5. We have made it to the final headline in this week's countdown of the best uplifting entertainment. At number 1. The unforgettable voice of Randy Travis on the stage of the Grand Ole Opry. That's also where Studio 5 caught up with the country music legend, who is still on a long road to recovery following the massive stroke he suffered more than 5 years ago. He's sharing his life story in a new book, Forever and Ever Amen, a memoir of music, faith, and braving the storms of life.
You drop out of school in 8th grade. My favorite story is this, though. You break into a church and have a beer party.
Wow. I guess you were thinking God will take us any way he can get us, right?
Yes. In his book, Randy shares the story of the moment doctors gave up hope and gave his wife the option of pulling the plug.
He gave me the answer I needed. He squeezed my hand, and we hadn't gotten we hadn't gotten anything out of him as far as movement or responses for days. So that was huge. It was a turning point. So he squeezed my hand, and I saw a little tear form and fell down the side of his cheek. And so, you know, it was full steam ahead.
That wraps this week's countdown and brings us back to the small screen. With incredible access to the U.S. prison system, CNN's Van Jones takes viewers into a room as criminals come face to face with those whose lives were forever changed by their violent assault. It is a look at restorative justice and a Studio 5 bright spot.
We like to imagine that after there's been a verdict, that the story is over. The reality is, whether they're the offender or the victim, the journey is just beginning.
How do you prepare yourself for staring across the table to somebody that has taken the life of your child?
What if he is still a violent person?
I don't know where we're gonna land, but we're all in, man.
And you can catch The Redemption Project with Van Jones on CNN. Now, before we go to break, we have a unique Studio 5 sit-down to share with you. You've seen our talks with the two-legged stars of A Dog's Journey. Well, we also had a chance to speak with the stars on four legs. They say dog is man's best friend. That's certainly the case here on the set of A Dog's Journey. And Studio 5 catches up with these furry stars in between takes. So what's your favorite part of shooting this film?
It's a rough life for a dog. All treats and belly rubs.
There are four-legged stars in this film whose tagline boasts 4 dogs, 1 spirit.
Still think you got one in you, boss dog.
Dennis Quaid, big star. What's your favorite part of working with him?
Oh, I love Dennis. He's my favorite person to play catch with.
It's hard to settle upon a favorite pup in this new dog journey, and the dogs had their own trouble making some tough decisions. If you could have your choice of a favorite food, what would it be?
Bacon, bacon, bacon. Popcorn.
Hi, Gloria.
It's good to see you.
Ethan and Hannah, finally!
Well, hello.
Who is this? Hello? Ethan, it's me, Barely.
This K9 cast captured the hearts of the human stars of the film, and they're sure to capture the hearts of moviegoers as well. We all love watching this film, and we're crying. How did you feel about it?
Oh, I had a blast. Are you kidding me?
Coming up.
C4B, take 2.
See and hear why this songwriter from Fox Television's Empire is playing in my ear.
This song is really just about highlighting that one special thing, that special moment, that special person.
The voice of Darius Coleman is next.
As the world watches from the outside,
it's a big diplomatic tug-of-war here in the Middle East.
Go inside the story with Jerusalem Dateline.
Israeli archaeologists are talking about a discovery that could change the thinking about the Temple Mount.
Join CBN Jerusalem Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell and get the biblical perspective on the events shaping the world.
What starts in Israel then ends up going to other places.
Watch Jerusalem Dateline, Friday night at 9:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Meet the pastors who are preaching the gospel in a fresh, fearless way. I'm Roberto Torres-Cedillo. Join me each week for Next Gen Voices. And watch God transform a generation.
Welcome back to Studio 5. Music, as you know, fills my ear each week while working on this show. And this week, it's a new voice breaking out from behind the scenes. You could say Darius Coleman's big musical break came as a songwriter for the hit Fox television series Empire. Well, he is now stepping to the mic and singing his own music. And his single Exception is what's playing in my ear.
Cause you got it like that. Even if I ain't have any money, you used to love me. Made a promise, that's fast. Girl, you're the exception. The exception to the rule. Swear it's such a blessing. A blessing loving you.
Another great track from Darius's project is titled Witness. You should be sure to check it out. It is certainly worth hearing. We're almost out of time for this episode of Studio 5, so let's pause now and look ahead and see what we're working to bring you next week.
Show some respect, boy, genuflect down on one knee. Just as Disney's live-action remake of Aladdin readies for release,
Give me a selfie camera quickly.
the cast and crew return here to where it was shot in Amman, Jordan.
Like we never went home.
I know, right? I love it here, man. This was such a good choice. We out there in Wadi Rum in the desert. It was just peaceful and serene and beautiful, and we got paid for it, which was really wonderful to be able to. That was our job. That was at work.
Yeah, it was a job, and by the way, the reason we chose this place is because it looked nice.
Hey, can you make me a prince?
There is a lot of gray area in Make Me a Prince. I could just make you a prince.
Oh, no.
Right, you'll be snuggled up with that dude for the rest of your life.
Y'all see my palace?
Be specific with your words. The deal is in the detail.
Got it.
And the stars take Studio 5 behind the scenes, remembering the movie-making experience.
It greatly affects actors when they're in an actual place and not a built set. And I also think the audience can feel the energy of it. I mean, something like Jordan, obviously with Petra being one of the 7 wonders of the world, you can't fake that energy, that feeling you get.
We hope you'll join us for that story and so much more next week. As for this show, we thought we'd give the final word to the writing force behind A Dog's Journey.
Yes! Trent!
CJ?
Trent? Where's Rocky?
Wow.
What are you... This is so weird. My dog just dragged me here.
There aren't that many movies that are a girl and her dog, and so I'm a girl myself. I'm very proud to see that, because I think it's about her journey to self-esteem, to realizing she deserves the kind of love that she gives, finding a good man, having a career, letting your voice out in the world. Those are all really good messages that girls need right now. So I'm proud of that part of the movie.
What has made this book, this film, so seamlessly able to tackle so many issues? I mean, we're talking about life, death, faith, love, heartbreak.
It's their souls. The soul of a dog is so about pure, unconditional love. So because it's told from the point of view of the dog, we are able to talk about the most profound things and the silliest things, bacon dropped on the floor. You know what I mean? Like it's the big and the small.
That's a great final word from the husband and wife team, and a great final word for this edition of Studio 5, as well as our look at uplifting entertainment. Until next time, make time to uplift someone else, and then you come on back and see where Studio 5 takes us next week. Bye-bye, everybody.